very large chunk of Republicans. Trump overall on almost every issue from the economy to immigration to this war is 20 points underwater. Guys, don't sleep on that. Those are disastrous numbers. When Biden was near those numbers, I said that he had a 0% chance of winning, and that turned out to be correct. And Trump is in big trouble. A lot of the press is scared of him, so they don't report it as they should. The reality is he's at maximum Biden dementia levels of bad polling. So that these numbers are super soft. By the way, over 3/4 of Americans say no ground troops, including a significant majority of Republicans. Now, the shocking, devastating number. So when we first went into the Iraq war, it had a popularity of 76%. That's because almost all of our politicians and almost all of our media lied and said that Iraq had attacked us on 9/11 and they had weapons of mass destruction. Oh my God, we're gonna get nuked. Just like you saw Steve Witkoff say the same lies over and over again. But they said those lies for so long that over 3/4 of the country wanted to go in. Now, for Iran war, we started at 41%. That is unbelievably low, okay? And that's the higher of the two numbers that we showed you, right? But what did we end the Iraq war on? Remember, at the end of the Iraq war, after we've been there about a decade, and we lost so many guys, so many injured, it was a giant mess. We spent trillions of dollars, and it was so unpopular that we had to leave. At that point, Iraq war's popularity was 43%, higher than where the Iran war started. So the minute we start taking significant casualties, which we now have reports that 150 Americans have been wounded, that just dropped right before the show. That's a big number that they were hiding, let alone the 7 dead, etc. And the gas prices continue to go up. This is gonna go from 41 to a number we've never seen, right? So this is a disaster in the making. Now, one of the reasons that, of course, we're pushed into this war, not one of the, oh, by the way, I should also note, and I mentioned all the flip-flopping of Donald Trump. Senator Blumenthal came out of a top intelligence briefing and said, it looks like we're getting ground troops ready. So there's a lot of yip yap and talking. But the bottom line is, what's the war planning? And Senator Blumenthal is saying they're planning on ground troops. So that's the important part. Now, all of this, of course, is for Israel. And so we have no interest in Iran at all. And if we did, we don't anymore. We wiped out everything they had related to nukes, their regime, their ballistic missiles, their navy, etc. The only people left dissatisfied are the Israelis, who say keep pushing and spend all your money for us, as Anna pointed out, 1 to 2 billion a day for this war alone. All right, so we asked, I asked this question when I was on Tucker Carlson's show. And then I asked if mainstream media will ask it, and they're like, no, you cannot ask Americans if they support Israel. It's an outrageous thing to do in terms of financially, because that's the only thing that matters. Are we gonna keep sending them money? Are we gonna keep using our money to back them up militarily, right? So of course, none of them did that poll as we suspect. So I asked you guys to finance it, and you did. You're amazing. So we did a real poll with YouGov. Over 1,000 people answered it, about the same number of Republicans and Democrats. In fact, they leaned a little bit more Republican in this poll. And we asked a simple question: should the US continue to provide financial support for Israel? That is a position that has been very popular for as long as I've been alive. Or the US doesn't owe Israel any more money, or not sure. 21%, as you're seeing on the screen there, say not sure. That's a big number, that's not sure. 49% say no, we do not owe Israel any more money. And only 30% say we should continue to financially support Israel.
Can I ask you something, Jake? Yeah. Hold on. Why do you use that wording? Because I need to understand if this is actually a thing. Why the hell would we ever owe any foreign country any money unless we did damage to their country and promised to repair things? Like, why would we owe Israel money?
Well, that's what all of mainstream media and all the politicians tell us, that we owe them. When we say, hey, why do we owe them? They go, special ally.
Anything. No, we don't owe them anything. Like, that wording is so triggering to me. We don't owe them Jack. Okay, like that framing is wrong. I haven't heard that framing on mainstream media, by the way. I don't know where you've heard it.
No, Anna, it is implicit in every single thing they say. When you question why do we have to give Israel all this money, they call you an anti-Semite and say you owe us. How dare you question it? How dare you? Like if we ask why do we owe money to Bulgaria or Thailand, literally no one would question that. That would be a very normal debate, discussion, etc. When you ask it about Israel, they're like, how dare you, right? Well, what does it mean, how dare I? So yeah, let me ask Americans, do we owe these guys? And why on God's green earth would we owe them, right? I'm actually, look, this is a real poll. We did it with YouGov. And I told you before we did it, we don't know what the results are gonna be. I'm actually surprised that it was only 49%. But that goes to the poll that we covered earlier in this segment, Anna, which is that support for Israel was so incredibly high because literally no one had ever heard a single critical thing about Israel for about 40 years straight in this country. Mainstream media lied to them en masse about how they were angelic victims as they continue to take more and more land. And mainstream media implied, you owe them, you owe them, you owe them. How dare you question whether you owe them, right? And now there's only 30% left saying, no, why, no. 30% say yes, we should financially support Israel. They're our beloved allies. That's a number, it's a pretty low number, right? And 49, basically half the country going, we don't owe them a single cent. And 21% saying, I don't know, maybe we owe them. So that's the current state of affairs. If you'd done that poll a couple of years ago, you would have had financially support Israel at 70, 80%. I've never seen numbers deteriorate this quickly.
Yeah, it turns out people don't enjoy watching a genocide live stream for 2.5 years. But anyway.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.
So we're not done with the Epstein files, all right? And they want you to believe there were no clients, no co-conspirators. It was all just him and Ghislaine freaking off on their own, and it's all over with. Well, we don't believe it, okay? And allegedly, in my opinion, right, allegedly, in this video, we're going to be talking about one of the alleged most disturbing clients of Jeffrey Epstein. One of the, allegedly, in my opinion, and to other people's opinions, one of the worst people that was in Epstein's orbit that was taking advantage of the situation that was going on, allegedly. Okay, and this person is Leon Black. So we're going to be talking about him, all right? We're going to be talking about what his involvement is in the Epstein files, how he's been described. Even Epstein's own accountant recently labeled him as an alleged co-conspirator, in his opinion, allegedly. So basically, there's been a lot of talk about Leon Black and the horrible things that he's done. And I think the first place to start would be basically on the Her Take podcast, all right? They were talking about how just depraved and abusive this person was in an early allegation from one of the victims. So I'll tell you this, I'll let this clip play, and then we're going to go through some of the backstory as to how Leon Black actually got plugged in with Epstein and what allegedly was going on behind the scenes.
2023, Newsweek had published an article about one of Epstein's survivors making allegations against Leon Black. And when she finally came out with the allegations, she claimed that he had bit her in her private area to the point where she was bleeding. And her diary entry does detail that and details how he got blood all over Epstein's carpet and how worried she was about that. I mean, and by the way, really important to note that this 16-year-old girl has autism and Down syndrome, and kept saying over and over again throughout her diary entries, like, why won't anyone find me? Someone save me from this torture.
So it's depraved, all right? And just for all these stories, oh, there were no clients. It was just Epstein. It was just a single man operation with Ghislaine Maxwell. They were just freaking off for Epstein. That's what they want you to believe, okay? And it's far-fetched. So this same alleged victim was actually connected to that disturbing journal that was released within the Epstein files. And the channel JD Milo actually covered this journal, this haunted, dark journal of one of the victims that had a whole lot of information.
For those of you who have been with me for a minute, you know I've covered some dark, heavy, triggering shit. When I say that I'm giving you the biggest trigger warning ever, Please believe me with this one. What I'm going to be sharing with you today has shook me to my core. It hasn't left my brain. I've lost sleep over it. I've cried more times than I can count, and I'm not a crier. I'm going to be sharing a few journal entries from a 15-year-old victim of Jeffrey Epstein and his disgusting ring of pedophiles. Now, this young girl wrote in code, but we have it decoded for us. So on the left side of the screen, you're going to see her journal entry, and on the right side is the decoded. The words go down and then up. So if you look at the top, if you start with the T and then you go down to the H and then back up to the E and then down with the Y, that's they. So down, up, down, up. And this young girl named names too, which I will be naming as well. There are always flights of horror, whether it's with Jeffrey, Mr. Leonz's, Mr. Case, Mr. Snyder, the Gregory's, Mr. Colgan, or one being borrowed by a seemingly good federal worker and even rented. It's all horror, and nothing as it seems. I'm so confused by everything, and people you expect to be good, like even old senators like George Mitchell, who you think will be like a grandpa, are bad. Mr. Kimsey is deranged. The answer is crazy. It all is. The next one are two photos that are redacted, some cutouts, and then her words on the top right. I heard the heartbeat even when she put her hands over my ears. Aren't pictures enough for them? Torture. This young girl is clearly talking about being pregnant by one of her. Some of the other words on the page: best medicine, should I deeply miss them, tears of rage. Have all these been murders? Heart-wrenching. Does this make me a killer? This 15-year-old girl is blaming herself. This is a child.
This is another very disturbing one. There's a picture of baby's feet on the top left. To the left of that are the words, I am so very sorry, little one. There's clip out words on the top, and I'm gonna read the bottom. What are these bets? And why do I have to take photos? I am so lost. Mr. Modi, Mr. Robert, Mr. Sant, Mr. Ludwig, Mr. Sechi, Mr. Mora, Mr. Good Latte, Mr. Atkins are not who they say. Run, run, run.
I'm gonna read one last one. On the top, it says travel to another state, and then it says New York. Walk down Madison Avenue to 71st. My mother has lost her fucking mind. Even though Ghislaine said it was best to take me home because Mr. Black is so important for some reason over my health, there's gonna be hell to pay. I ruined their trip, and I am dramatic when that fat fuck bit me. He threw me on the floor and got blood all over Jeffrey's carpet, and I am the issue? Who the fuck bites someone? Sick. No one is that important, and Leon could go fuck himself. I hate New York. She's referring to Leon Black. On the bottom are these clipped out words. I was crying out for help, evil and pain, hate. Really sick, you should call 911, helpless, raging. This is 3 of many, many more. And this is one girl. There are tons more journals from different victims, even more graphic things if you can imagine. But we should just do what he says, right? Just move on.
I think it's really time for the country to get onto something else.
For those of
Yeah, I don't think we're going to move on anytime soon. So obviously a lot of names are brought up there, but one of the most prominent ones, and the one with that biting story, was Leon Black. Now, during his time allegedly interacting with Epstein, Leon Black was serving as the CEO of Apollo Management. He's a billionaire, currently worth $12 billion, all right? 239th in the rankings of the richest people in the world, okay? He's the co-founder of private equity behemoth Apollo Global Management, managing $785 billion in assets. He stepped down as Apollo CEO and chairman in 2021 after a board investigation found out he paid $158 million in fees to Jeffrey Epstein. What were these fees? A further investigation upped the sum to $170 million, spending quite a lot of money with Jeffrey Epstein. Black spent much of his early career at investment bank Drexel Burnham Lambert, where he eventually headed the mergers and acquisitions group. After Drexel filed for bankruptcy in 1990, Black founded Apollo with colleagues Joshua Harris and Mark Rowan, both of whom are billionaires. And Apollo went public in 2011. Black still owns roughly 7% of the company's shares. I'm actually curious enough to know, how is this guy in the top 300 richest people in the entire world? Okay, how did he actually do this? What did he do that was so good? Okay, he had an AB in philosophy and history. Okay, MBA from Harvard Business School back in 1975. He's okay. I mean, it's just, I just wonder this, how the fuck did you make all this money? This is never very well explained. He was an accountant at the company that later became KPMG. He had an interview at Lehman Brothers Bank, which they were told he didn't have the brains or the personality to succeed on Wall Street. He then joined Drexel Burnham Lambert, where he rose to be managing director and the head of the mergers and acquisitions group, co-head of the corporate finance department. He was regarded as the junk bond king and Michael Milken's right-hand man. So he's milking himself silly with Michael Milken, apparently. That's it. Very, very little on his career. Similar to Epstein in the sense it's just like, we're not really seeing how you became so wealthy, it's not really obvious. You know, he bought one of 4 versions of the Scream. He paid $120 million for the pastel, the highest price ever paid for a work of art. But how's he making his money? There's more on here about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein than the genius moves that he's made in making billions of dollars. How? Someone explain to me how. It's just like, this just cannot be that simple. Somebody that's so important, worth billions of dollars, and there's no information on what he was doing from 1990. That's it. Doesn't even talk about him starting his own firm, Apollo. This is a Wikipedia page that's been manicured, I think. It is ridiculous. It's no information. Is there not anything about him starting his company and being successful? No. Straight to philanthropy. This is crazy. And he's got sexual misconduct allegations. A Russian model claims she was harassed and abused by him for years, forced to sign a non-disclosure agreement under duress. He denied the allegations. He said it was a years-long consensual affair. He accused her of extortion after paying millions of dollars through an NDA to keep her quiet about the affair. She filed a lawsuit and Black countersued her. She claimed Black introduced her to Jeffrey Epstein and he tried to force her to sleep with him. Courts dismissed her lawsuit in May 2023. The judge determined that the lawsuit was glaringly deficient and the NDA clearly and unambiguously covered all claims arising out of the parties' relationship, past and future. Black described the lawsuit as exceptionally painful, but then in 2026, unsealed emails showed that in earlier in 2015, she had demanded $100 million from him. Epstein assisted Black in strategizing how to handle the conflict, arranging meetings between them, and the woman agreed to the non-disclosure agreement, which Black would pay her $100,000 a month for many years. That is a hell of a come up, I've got to say. The law firm that represented her also represented another accuser who accused Black of the R word in 2002 at Jeffrey Epstein's New York City mansion. He denied it. His attorney described it as an extortion attempt, and then she dropped her lawsuit. What do you know? I wonder what happened behind the scenes. A third lawsuit was brought, alleging that Black violently had abused the girl that was actually talked about in that journal that we heard about. He denied the allegations. He described it as frivolous and sanctionable, accused the law firm of manufacturing defamatory lies. The company filed a lawsuit against Black in 2026, alleging he was using strategic lawsuits against public participation, SLAP, basically, against accusers and the attorneys representing them. So that was in 2026, all right? So, honestly, from his Wikipedia, I'm not seeing much on how he made all of his money. Unexplained wealth, if you ask me. But that doesn't stop him. You know, he's out here lauding himself up as a financial genius. He regularly appeared on television providing investment advice.
Private equity is a long-term illiquid asset class. There's a reason why LPs are asked to lock up their money for 10 years. Basically, it involves a cycle. You plant seeds, you try to build value when you own a company, and then you look to maximize your exit.
So a lot of people have been giving their thoughts on Leon Black, and some people say he is one of the most serious Epstein clients, allegedly, in some people's opinion. YouTuber Carly P. Riley would basically break down some of the specific cases and victims that have been linked to Leon Black.
Cases that we really need to highlight, one including a minor, are 3 women who allege that Leon Black them in 2002 in Epstein's New York townhouse, New York mansion, in the massage room, that they had been recruited by Ghislaine. I think all 3 of them cited Ghislaine as being the recruiter, though in some way or another were in contact with Epstein and Ghislaine, and were told to massage Leon Black, who then them. All 3 women claim he bit them in a private area, which led them to bleed, led to excruciating pain. At least 2 of them.
So all 3 women complained about him biting them. So he's a biter.
The women had no prior knowledge of each other's accounts when they shared this. So you have 2 women independent from one another saying that this man bit them. That's a very specific allegation to make, in my opinion, if you're not telling the truth. That would be far too much of a coincidence, in my opinion, to have 2 women alleging this very specific thing happened to them independently of one another. The third girl, she's a woman now, but the third accuser who made the accusation has diary entries in which she records that he bit her. And this is where you get notes from a conversation between the DA's office and the FBI. This is, I believe, the FBI taking notes on the conversation they're having with the New York District Attorney's Office. And it says this: District Attorney of New York, do not doubt her allegations against Jeffrey Epstein and Leon Black. That is the person who alleges she was by Leon Black at 16 years old. The District Attorney of New York does not doubt her allegations. They believe she was also abused by Staley. That's Jess Staley, the former head of Barclays, who is another 10 out of 10 in terms of, I think, the worst of being involved in Epstein's trafficking. But I have to look more into it. They say, and here's the key, they say they have not found any independent corroboration.
So, numerous reports of bitings independently. They're not in cahoots. They're not sharing. Let's all say that we were bit. They're saying separately this guy likes to bite, right? Allegedly, in their opinion. Got to say that, apparently. But basically, FBI investigation records would basically reportedly link Leon Black to numerous victims. It would detail highly graphic accounts of the alleged abuse, which I won't reproduce in this video, but I will kind of skim over some of the information from this trafficking report. Leon Black, he's a Wall Street person, founded the largest private equity global fund that exists that's publicly traded, but there's no information about it on Wikipedia, completely top secret on Wikipedia, but it's the largest private equity global fund that exists, publicly traded, one of Epstein's friends. Allegedly was violent with people in the sack, biting people, was represented for a civil defamation case, not an abuse case. Yeah. R word was taking place in Epstein's townhouse, thought something had hurt her. Apparently he had substance abuse. The girl had substance abuse problems in the 90s, was preyed on by Epstein, gave massages to Epstein and Black for money. Now lives somewhere else. Abuse happened in New York. This is the young girl who basically said she was violently abused by him. Not going to go into too many of those details because it's a bit too hot for YouTube. But basically, she says she's always known the name of Black, didn't participate in the Epstein case or the fund. Basically, someone was handed off to Maxwell and Epstein. The victim had to sleep in the bed with them. Was on the US Virgin Islands in late 2020 and 2021. Officials were trying to interview the young girls that had been on the island. They participated in a couple of meetings with a lawyer. Viewed Maxwell as a mother figure, but described her and the things she did as mean. Believed there were men that Epstein wanted her to go with. Maxwell said no. Has high school attendance records and medical records for trauma. Now, emails from the file would seemingly reveal that Leon Black had provided Epstein with investment advice and had utilized him as a professional fixer in a certain sense. So what was Epstein fixing for you? And why is your Wikipedia so sparsely populated?
By the way, on top of that, emails going back to like 2008, 2009 show that Epstein was getting stock advice and stock tips from Leon Black. By the way, at times when Leon Black had material non-public information, so you're certainly brushing up against insider trading issues there, which were also things that profited Epstein. So I think the real value of this relationship for Epstein probably exceeded $200 million easily. I can tell you this, it is provably the case that Epstein was not exclusively paid for taxes and estate planning purposes. And here's the proof. In 2015, Leon Black was accused of by a woman named Guzel. And he ultimately paid her, $9.5 million, although he structured an agreement with her in which he would pay her $100,000 a month for 15 years, a total payout of $18 million, in exchange for her signing an ironclad NDA, which she ultimately broke, which is how we know about all of this, and also why she only ultimately received $9.5 million as opposed to the full $18 million. You'll be unsurprised to hear that when all of that was going down, Leon Black turned to Jeffrey Epstein to help him with the situation. And one of the things that Epstein did was to email a Russian official, like an FSB-trained economics guy in Moscow. And he says, "How are you? I need a favor. There is a Russian girl from Moscow. She's attempting to blackmail a group of powerful businessmen in New York. It is bad for business for everyone involved." Sergey gets back to him, does a look into it, follows up and says, "I'm talking to somebody who knows her. Can you give me more information?" And then it runs cold. They might have gotten on the phone. That seems to be what Epstein does, is he'll only say so much over email, and then he gets on the phone.
The way that that's going down, it sounds like Epstein might have been lining her up to get killed, to be honest with you. Talking about where he is, talking to some shady Russian. That's very, very suspect. Now, during their association, as we already covered, okay, Leon Black wired Epstein over $170 million, okay, and a massive connection basically involved school photo giant LifeTouch, a big company that was later discovered.
Leon Black paid Jeffrey Epstein an estimated $170 million in the last 5 years of his life for estate planning. Google Leon Black's net worth. It's so $13 billion. 170 is a number I would expect Elon Musk's bills to be for that. Yeah. Because he's worth damn near $1 trillion. No one's paying $170 million for estate planning. That percentage of his wealth to estate planning is absolutely insane. So that never made any sense. But Leon also was always placed at Jeffrey's East 71st 21st Street townhouse in New York. He was there often, and if you want to Google Leon Black minors allegations, do it. It's dark. I can't even say a couple of the things that he's accused of because probably get this video new, but it's that bad. And this is a guy who, along with his wife, was literally like the chairman of the board of MoMA in New York, Museum of Modern Art. You know, this is someone not only uber wealthy, but at the heart of culture and finance and many different things. And he has come into the news once again in a creepy way this week because it was revealed
through a company he co-founded called LifeTouch.
Those schools all over the U.S. are canceling Picture Day due to Leon Black, the co-founder of the parent company that owns LifeTouch. And he's listed in the Epstein files, so they're canceling Picture Day. LifeTouch is the biggest school picture company in America and photographs millions of kids every year. I have to say this, can tell you as a dude with the allegations against him like Leon Black, with the ties that he has, with the people that he's tied to, with the espionage people that he's tied to, with the actions of his life, owning a company like that. This is a data war we're in the modern day, everybody. Right. It doesn't look good. Those are your children who are photographed and their data stored. There's a lot that can be done with that. Leon.
How on earth is he in charge of a company that's literal mission is to take photos of children? It beggars belief. Okay, so a year after Epstein died in October of 2020, Leon would step down as the Apollo CEO, and he would publicly claim that his work with Epstein was merely a mistake, just a little mistake. Just made a little
Apollo,
mistake.
it's not a company we talk too often about. Of course, the alternative asset manager giant in private equity has been under the microscope of late. You can see its stock price has also been down, in part because of the relationship between its founder, chairman and CEO Leon Black, and Jeffrey Epstein. Mr. Black is perhaps the most low-key of all the private equity titans. You think of Steve Schwartzman, who we see a lot, or David Rubenstein, or even KKR's Henry Kravis. Leon Black, you don't hear from too much. So it was somewhat extraordinary that he began the conference call this morning with a statement about his relationship with Mr. Epstein, in part to try to clear up any misunderstandings that perhaps are out there. He said by his nature, he's a private person. It runs counter to his nature to speak publicly about personal matters, and he pointed out this has been true ever since he lived through the press coverage of his father's suicide 45 years ago. But he did say, hey, this is affecting Apollo, and he went on from there to tell us exactly what his relationship was with Mr. Epstein. He said it was a professional relationship in which Epstein provided services to the family partnership and related family entities involving estate planning, tax structuring of art entities. By the way, Mr. Black, one of the largest owners of fine art in the country, and philanthropic advice that extended over a period of 6 years, from 2012 to 2017, I believe, is when it was. And he says, Leslie, there's never been an allegation by anyone that I engaged in any wrongdoing, because I did not. But as you know, they, of course, have also hired a law firm, in part at Mr. Black's urging, to examine his relationship and to report back to the board and to shareholders about that.
So you might be not very surprised to find out that in January of 2021, an independent investigation into Leon Black's $170 million transfers to Jeffrey Epstein would officially find zero wrongdoing. Nothing wrong, nothing to see here. Apollo Global Management announces conclusion and release of independent review. Right? Yep. Independent review. The Conflicts Committee of the Board of Directors completed its previously announced independent review of Chairman and CEO Leon Black's previous professional relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Released the findings. Okay, released the findings. Here are the findings. Apollo never retained Epstein for any services, and Epstein never invested in Apollo-managed funds. Epstein regularly advised Mr. Black on trust and estate planning, tax issues, philanthropic endeavors, and the operation of his family office. All fees paid to Mr. Epstein by Mr. Black or his family office were for bona fide tax, estate planning, and other related services. Okay. And the amounts were intended to be proportional to the value provided by Mr. Epstein, provided big dog value, $170 million worth of value. Epstein's advice was vetted and respected by professional advisors. Dosha found no evidence Mr. Black was involved in any way of Mr. Epstein's criminal activities at any time. All right, the findings of the report are consistent with statements made by Mr. Black and Apollo regarding their prior relationship. Okay, they looked at 60,000 communications, emails, text messages, documents, and conducted interviews with 20 relevant individuals. It's all fine. It's all fine. Okay, didn't do anything wrong. He was so fine, in fact, he was so in the right, that in July of 2023, he would abruptly settle a suit and paid a massive sum to the Virgin Islands to avoid any further legal claims. He was so in the right that he paid a large settlement to the Virgin Islands where Epstein's Island was going on, and they were doing allegedly messed up things there. Okay. He was so in the right that he paid a settlement to avoid Epstein legal claims. He paid $62 million. That's enough to buy the Epstein Island, right? To avoid any legal claims tied to a Jeffrey Epstein trafficking investigation. You can just pay the fine. I didn't know you could just pay the fine to avoid trafficking investigations. That's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet. Mr. Black had settled with the Virgin Islands, noting there was no suggestion in the settlement that Mr. Black was aware or participated in any misconduct. Not aware and didn't participate. And I'm going to give you $60 million just because. Spokesman went on to say, as previously known, Black paid Epstein for legitimate financial advisory services and that Black had resolved the Virgin Islands' potential claims arising out of the unintended consequences of those payments. Word of Black's settlement follows a demand earlier this month from the Virgin Islands that JP Morgan Chase pay $190 million and possibly more to resolve its lawsuit accusing the largest US bank of ignoring the disgraced late financier's Epstein's sex trafficking. The bank denied it knew about abuses by Epstein, who was a client from 1998 to 2013. What are we talking about? Okay. So a New York judge dismissed a lawsuit accusing Black at 71 of defaming a woman by falsely claiming that she tried to extort him after accusing him of the R-word. He still faces a lawsuit from another woman, Sherry Pearson, who accused him of R-wording her 2 decades ago in Epstein's mansion. He's denied any wrongdoing and he's worth $10 billion. Okay. So that same month, the victim that actually was the person that allegedly, well, they had autism and Down syndrome, she would officially file her lawsuit against Black in 2023. Okay, pretty damning stuff. She was apparently Jeffrey Epstein's special girl. These guys are twisted, okay? He was accused of the R-word of the girl. Apparently had asked what had made her Jeffrey Epstein's special girl. He retired from his firm. The woman's come forward with historic allegations that he was violent with her, leaving a mark on her physically and psychologically. Black's lawyers are saying the allegations were totally made up. It was brought by a law firm with a vendetta, and it's frivolous. So we've already heard that, right? But basically, today, Leon Black, he's a free man. He's got $12 billion to his name, all right? But he is set to be deposed in an unrelated lawsuit. This will be very interesting. I'd like to see him in front of that select committee too. It says Leon Black, billionaire financier, to be deposed in Epstein's victim suit against Bank of America. The lawsuit alleges, okay, that the country's second largest bank ignored suspicious payments by Black to the late offender, Jeffrey Epstein. Anyway. So he will be ordered to be deposed in a lawsuit brought by these women. The judge ruled that he will have to give sworn testimony later this month. The deposition expected to last 8 hours, with 5 allocated for the victim's legal team and 3 hours for the Bank of America's lawyers. He's denied wrongdoing or any knowledge of Epstein's criminal conduct. It hadn't been known that Black would be deposed until Rakoff scheduled a conference call on the matter. Black is a critical witness in this case. This page sucks. An attorney for the victim said on the call. They're saying Bank of America turned a blind eye to the suspicious transfers that he made to Epstein from his Bank of America account. $170 million for tax and estate planning advice. That is quite a lot for advice. And this is how Epstein... This is the thing. Epstein, allegedly, in a lot of people's opinions, had clients. Epstein wasn't a financial genius. He wasn't making no financial moves. He wasn't doing private equity. He didn't start any good companies. He's getting $170 million from tax advice from this guy. He's a billionaire. He would have better people advising him than Epstein. Epstein doesn't have experience giving tax advice to any high level. It's nonsense, all right? The money, the plaintiffs allege, was used to fund Epstein's trafficking enterprise. They're saying that Epstein used the money that Black paid them to partially fund his operations in the Virgin Islands. And that's why he's paying a bunch of money to the Virgin Islands, okay? He's got a deposition that's coming up. Okay, they're saying the parties are very close to resolving this dispute. The victim's legal team and Bank of America's lawyers didn't disclose any details about a possible settlement. Attorneys for the victims didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. B of A declined to comment. And they're basically saying that Bank of America provided services in connection with Epstein and his trafficking organization, as well as bank accounts used by Epstein's co-conspirators, associates, and victims at Epstein's direction. Okay, they said the bank didn't monitor accounts properly. They didn't file suspicious activity reports concerning the questionable transactions. And they're basically trying to hold Bank of America civilly liable for the crimes of Jeffrey Epstein. But they're defending them themselves. They're saying it's based on nothing more than the allegations it provided routine services to customers who at the time had no known connection to Epstein's trafficking. At the time. Okay, at the time. And apparently, the Epstein victims bringing lawsuits like this to JP Morgan Chase and Deutsche Bank have been settled for hundreds of millions of dollars. So there is definitely a payday involved here. They're definitely going to get their money, and frankly, they deserve it. I would say the girls deserve their money. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. You know, more billionaires being connected to the situation. Absolutely no consequences, no oversight. $60 million to the US Virgin Islands, even though I didn't do anything wrong. Are you serious? Are you actually serious with me right now? I can't believe it. But look. Okay, let me know what you thought of that. Whether Leon Black, is that someone we need to look into more? He's a bit scary. Okay, hopefully I don't get the lawsuit. All of this is alleged, you know. All of this is alleged in my opinion, other people's opinions. But also, we're seeing a lot of stuff. We're seeing a lot of stuff. Can't ignore it, can you? But anyway, I'm going to be back with some more videos. I've got some kind of different videos I'm going to be doing. I think later today I might do a video. I might do a video about the Clintons. Might do a video about serial killer that you've never heard of. You know, we're all just trying to keep track of everything that's going on in this crazy world. Let me know what you thought of my Iran war updates that I gave you as well. I'm following that with interest. I'm going to be just talking about anything on this channel that is interesting to me, that I find interesting, that I'm learning about, and I will keep you guys informed on anything that I am learning about and anything that I think is important to the culture right now, okay? Anyway, thank you for watching this one. I'll catch you guys in the next video. For now, I'm out. Peace.
Hey guys, welcome back. Please leave a like so this video is recommended to others, and hit that subscribe button so you can keep seeing videos just like this.
Not gonna lie, this dangerous. This dropped a pill in some grease, and you telling me they calling this instant fries? Nah, I don't want no instant fries. I guess we just gonna have to stick to cutting up potatoes, and that's it. Because ain't no way you dropping melatonin pills in grease and it's creating fries now. That's not what we about to have ever. I advise you stay out these fast food places because this getting dangerous. It was already dangerous, but now it's getting even more dangerous. Like, come on, bro.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this is AI, because there ain't no way. I'm not saying the FDA wouldn't approve this, because you know they would, but I find that to be factually impossible. So yeah, that's gotta be AI.
A principal and his graduating class of what I'm assuming is a small Christian school is rehearsing graduation. Now they're taping the rehearsal when something really strange happens. Just watch.
Broken ankles for graduation. So then we're going to talk about individual accomplishments a little bit, and we'll move you off to the side before other stuff starts. But just air pressure, or was that a friendly ghost, Mr. Baker? Thank you, sir.
The principal even jokingly said, was that air pressure or was that a little friendly ghost? But the auditorium doors swing open and then the light starts flickering on and off outside. Now all in all, they ignore this, continue their rehearsal, but this happens not once, but twice. Watch.
You guys have to take leadership. Everybody to give us their I must have an open door somewhere else in the building, blowing that open.
Now again, the principal blows it off its air pressure. They continue practicing their rehearsals. A few students make it across the stage. Now pay attention to the second student with the glasses. Because he stands in his position. The next student comes across, but watch.
What?
The second student's cap flies off of his head. And not just that, the camera glitches out and freezes. Now, are we going to chalk all of this up to coincidence? Or is this Christian school haunted?
Dang, bro, they got some demons in that school. I wonder what they've been up to in there. Because why would a Christian school be haunted? That's creepy, bro.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the man? Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the man?
Get up and leave, because that's disgusting. This is the same level of disgusting as a soggy biscuit. Y'all know what that is, right? If you don't worry about it. Don't even look it up.
While driving through a remote stretch of Texas desert, the filmer points out just how empty the landscape is.
Buildings, no windmills, nothing.
No towns, no buildings, barely even a power line in sight.
I'm currently driving in the middle of nowhere, Texas. There's nothing out here. There's not even power lines. No buildings, no windmills.
Then suddenly, off to the side of the highway, something bizarre comes into view.
A Prada store. What would you do without a Prada store?
A pristine Prada storefront, standing completely alone in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, no. Locked. Dang. Well, so come earlier next time.
Naturally, the clip exploded online. Some viewers called it a glitch in reality. Others wondered if it was evidence of an alternate dimension bleeding into our own.
Well, so come earlier next time.
I think it's supposed to be art installation or something, right? It's pretty cool. I've been thinking of visiting it, but I don't know. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's really not worth it unless you're headed in that direction for a different reason. Hold up there, I need to talk to you about something important. Have you ever Googled your name? It's horrifying, right? You probably saw that your information is just out there for people to see. Every year, millions of people get their identity stolen, and it's all because everyday companies have leaks or shady brokers sell all your information for anyone willing to pay. And all that can be prevented if you use Aura like I do, the sponsor of this video, by the way. Aura is an all-in-one security service that keeps an eye on your information online. Now, I know sometimes it can be a little confusing to manually remove your info off the internet, or you just don't have the time, and that's what makes Aura so good. They can do that for you. Aura can let you know if they find your email, your social, or your phone number on the dark web, and they'll let you know if anybody tried using that info to access a bank account or open up a credit line. They protect all your devices with antivirus software, VPNs, and password managers. And if the worst was to happen and somebody were to get a hold of your information, you also get up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. You can go to aura.com/Uevo where you can try 14 days for free. And that should be plenty of time for Aura to find out if any of your information has been compromised. That way you can stay on top of things and you don't have to wait for another company to have a data breach to give you the bad news. And I highly recommend you do this now because you don't really matter as a customer to these companies. They'll probably just offer you free credit monitoring, and that's like installing security after you've been robbed. So protecting yourself seems like it's too much work, or you already have too many things on your plate. Let Aura do the hard work for you. Avoid all the headaches of having a scammer ruin your life and go to my link at aura.com/Uevo to try 2 weeks for free. Thank you to Aura for sponsoring this video, and again, you can get this deal by clicking the link in the description below.
When people talk about how they believe the earth is shaped differently than what we've been told, this is probably one of the best representations I've found of what they actually mean. Whenever people talk about theories involving the shape of the earth, a lot of people just assume that they are just flat earthers, but there's a big group of people that believe the earth is simply bigger than what we've been taught or what we think. According to this theory, what we think of as Antarctica isn't an ice continent at the bottom of our world, but instead circling the 6 continents that we live on, similar to what you see in this video. And if you were to make it past Antarctica, you would run into an entirely different group of land masses or continents that we have no clue even exists. It's believed that these different continents have different species and societies based in different eras of time. So for example, one group of continents may have prehistoric creatures while another group has extremely advanced civilizations. This theory also states that these other land masses are where UFOs actually come from, opposed to somewhere deep in outer space. Similar to how we use drones to observe the civilization on North Sentinel Island, UFOs are sent from these other areas to observe us. And the reason we aren't told about the existence of all this is because according to this theory, our 6 continents are owned by a small group of people. While we use paper and digital currencies amongst each other that only has value amongst our 6 continents, this group of people takes the precious metals like gold, silver, and copper and becomes extremely wealthy in the other more advanced civilizations. And as a disclaimer, this is all for entertainment purposes only, and I'm not claiming this is backed by scientific evidence.
You know how crazy that would be if this was true. This seems more believable than Flat Earth. Flat Earth just sounds goofy, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to y'all that believe in Flat Earth, but this seems more believable. Or Hollow Earth theory. I mean, the government did come out and say that there's alien bases in the ocean, right? Inside the Earth. It seems like we got some more plausible theories here going on.
Okay, I'm on a work trip and staying at the Marriott in California, and I left this morning at probably about 7 a.m. and just got back a minute ago. And the first thing I noticed was that my TV was on. Don't mind some of the mess in the background. And I'm like, that's weird. I didn't leave the TV on when I left this morning. And then I look a little closer, and this is what it says on the home screen. I got instant chills, looked around to make sure nobody broke into my room, and am just feeling pretty creeped out by it.
Welcome, Jeffrey Epp. You know the guy. Thank you for staying at Courtyard by Marriott. Wow. So is this another confirmation he's still alive? He was recently there and forgot to log out of the TV. That's pretty weird. Oh, he looked mad. He looked hella mad.
He's gonna chase us? No, he's coming. What is this? I'm scared. Oh my god! I missed it. No. Here. What was this? Here. Oh my god!
Oh Lord, he coming.
Alright, slow down, let him catch up. He's gone. Yo.
Bro, that thing is so scary looking. They're so scary, bro. I don't know how people think they look cute. That is not cute. That's an apex predator right there. He would have for sure took a bite out of the boat if he caught up. Oh. Oh, what are you gonna do, bro? Oh my god. Oh. It's a good morning. I got a feeling the doctor's just gonna be like, we gotta put him down then. There's nothing we can do. Yeah, good luck with that, I guess.
Genuinely a perfect example here for just how insane early 2000s and late 2000s TV shows were. This was on TV. The short clip that you guys just watched is honestly quite insane. It shows this guy laughing maniacally. Right here we can see a detonator, and then a second later, this entire residential home is blown to smithereens. For some backstory, this particular clip was part of the Extreme Makeover Home Edition. This specific episode was filmed back in 2007, and while this show saw a lot of people getting new and renovated homes, and there were lots of volunteers, and it was overall a good thing, there were some dark aspects to it. Namely, these newly built homes inevitably increased the property value for the people that owned it, and because of this, some people were unable to afford their property taxes, and they were forced to sell or get evicted from their home. In total, 200 people were on the show, 9 people lost or left their homes, meaning you had a 5% chance to lose it if you were on the show. Again, I think the positives here outweighed the negatives, but still, there is that dark side to this that a lot of people just, quite frankly, don't talk about.
I think that after some of the renovations, some of those people even said they could no longer afford their electric bill. Like, imagine you have like a 2, maybe 3 bedroom house and your electricity bill's probably like, I don't know, what was like an electric bill back in the early 2000s, like $100 a month. I had seen that some of those people said that their electric jumped to like almost $1,000 a month, which is freaking insane, bro. $1,000? That's disgusting. Oh my god. Oh, another hippo video. Yo, that is freaking terrifying. That's literally your worst nightmare coming true. Oh my god. Dude, the way he flipped that with no effort at all. That was probably like flipping a pool noodle. There's no way he didn't think that was the end. That would not be a good way to go. Hippo? Nope. Nope.
Every American kid who's ever taken school pictures.
Oh, the Life Touch.
We're all in the files.
Yeah.
Is that not crazy?
That's insane.
Because yeah, the company Life Touch is connected to the guy, I guess, who runs the company or who founded the company, is a part of the files, and he's been there so many times. They mentioned bro's name so many times, and it's connected to him. So then it makes you think, what about all the kids who didn't buy their pictures?
Yeah.
Where did the pictures go? Think about it. How many times did you take school pictures and you didn't buy them?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you get them? Did they go to your house?
Yeah.
They didn't go to my house.
I
So
never
where do they
bought 'em.
go? Where do
Or even if
where
you
do
do
all
buy
the-
them, it's
even
like-
buy them, they make a copy.
Yeah, there's
So-
a file on a computer somewhere.
So where did the
with
other
your
ones
picture on
go?
it. Yeah.
We never questioned it. Our parents never questioned it. So now it's just a bunch of pictures of kids
From
literally and then
kindergarten all the way to
all
your
the way to
senior
your
high
senior year.
school.
So wait, let's even go a step further. Where does that kid live?
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure they have access to all that. They know that I go
Yeah.
to this school. So now they already narrowed it down to he lives in California. Oh, and then it's that school. There's only one of those schools in that district.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean, bro. It's such a crazy thing of you have a never-ending cycle of pictures.
Yeah.
That these creepy niggas can probably
Forever.
use for whatever the hell they want. So it's
Crazy
wild that
as hell.
they're over here wondering why we all care about the files. Because we're a part of it.
Yeah.
What
All
the
of
hell?
us, anyone who's had their school picture
Yeah.
taken is a part of that.
So then it goes into this thing of like, are we all just gonna keep just sitting here being